All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We talking about black people. We talking about white people. We talking about people. We talking about people of color. We talking about indigenous people. We talking about people that are indigenous to the indigenous people. We are talking about people that love sports and want to take a flight with us on this Tuesday night. It is the Sideline Junkies. It's the Tuesday night flight. And there's one thing that the Tuesday night flight has in common with Parfait. Everybody love Parfait. You can't tell me nobody don't like Parfait. And that's what I'm telling you about the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network, baby. Everybody love Parfait and everybody love us. And with that being said, I am the Midnight Rider. He is the big guy, KG. We got a couple things we want to knock out for you. We had the college basketball championships. So we got the two final games and the uproar from that. We crowned two champions in our two leagues as well. The men's version of the bracket challenge and the women's version, two different champions. They've been crowned. With that being said, we also have to talk about UNC. Hiring Mike Malone. How you feel? What's your thought process? Since I'm the resident UNC fan, I figure I'm probably gonna be taking most of these questions. After that, we got to talk. I'm just waiting. Did you send him the thing? Because maybe we need to send him the link.
Let me do that.
For the correspondent to jump in with us and get in live so we can talk Masters, because there's no better time of the year than going between the bushes, the rose bushes at an Augusta. This is, if you can't tell in my background, that's Amen Corner, one of the biggest holes. Well, I'm not gonna say it that way, but one of the most important places at Augusta National. So that's what we got in the background today. And then at the end, we want to talk about, because we're coming to maybe the end of a legacy. 20 years of one person being in hockey in DC. And I think he's done so much that I don't know if we can even put him in common place with everybody else in terms of DC athletes. And we'll talk about that as we get going later on. But with that being said, again, Tuesday night flight. Hopefully your tickets are punched and your baggage is up in the stowaway and we're ready to go. So we're going to get this party started the only way we knew how. So I'm going to let KG take it over from here.
Well, good morning, or shoot, good afternoon, good evening. Good grief, I ain't got my time of day right. It's dark, so I don't know what time it is, but how's everybody doing? Welcome to the Tuesday night flight. I had an idea how we were going to start this show off, right? But I'll wait until we get to that point. So I'll do it the important way. Thank you, Midnight Rider, for that rousing introduction. I need that. And first and foremost, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. That midnight strikes thing, we gotta wait till the correspondent comes in for that.
Okay.
And actually, I'm gonna change it to some other title. But
okay,
yeah, let's wait to the correspondent. You know what I'm saying?
So first off, let's jump right into it. We're gonna go. We had the college basketball championships Sunday and Monday. So I can't do it the proper way we've done it in years past. So let me just go ahead and do it this way. The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star. All right, one shining moment's out the way. First,
do you know that wasn't meant for the NCAA?
Yep.
I was told that it was supposed to be for football. Football turned it down, and the guy changed the lyrics or changed the lyrics in mid-step, and that's how it became the song for the NCAA. And then, of course, a bunch of people sung it afterwards, and poor guy doesn't even have. I don't even think his rendition's in the top 10. So
it's okay. Luther has surpassed him, but it's Luther and it's David Barrett. Everybody else can go ahead and you can go sit down. They killed it. I'm sure about that. I'm sure.
Okay.
Because we talking. Okay, number one, we talking Luther. This Luther.
No, I know it's
Of course, he killed it. Once Luther does your song, it's not your song anymore. we know that it's not your song no more. But David Barrett, that right there, I don't know. It's something about One Shining Moment that makes you feel the song when he sings it. So, I'll always say that because I don't think anybody else did it better than those two. And I've heard a couple of other ones, but they never last more than a season. Then they'll play sometimes both versions. They'll play David Barrett's version and they'll play Luther's version.
Okay.
So put a pin in that. That's a debate. Maddie said Luther is the version.
I mean, we
that.
gotta give the resident music expert his place on that. So I think we have to go with that until there's another argument made.
I'll agree with that.
Here he comes.
And joining us now is none other than the correspondent. He jumped off one flight to get on another one.
There we go.
No, it's like now hailing the man who gets his own segment. He gets his own time to come in because we know that the expertise and the knowledge is going to be key and on point. He is a man known by two names only because you have to put the in front of really what he is, and that is the correspondent, Mr. K. And secondly, while you are here,
yeah,
sir, thank you.
I got you.
You made my day today, man.
All right.
I came in, I looked on the floor, there was a big box, and I'm looking at my aunt, and I'm like, yo, she's like, it's yours. I was like, there's only one. I turned into what's the dude from Spaceballs? I was like, there's only one man who'll give me the raspberries. So yeah, I opened it up. I love them, and I love the fact that you knew TaylorMade's Adams had to be in the mix.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I think this weekend they're getting used. I don't know what cage you're doing, but I'm hitting the driving range.
There we go.
What's crazy is I was gonna wait until we got on air, and I was gonna see, once it warm up and I get a little slowdown, because my slowdown come at the end of the month. I was gonna see if you guys wanted to hit the driving range so I can see what I got.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, you start somewhere, but no, you guys are in the mix. You're armed and dangerous, as I like to say.
I'm mostly dangerous. I'm more like Maverick. I'm more like
Maverick. That's what I'm here for. So bend the ear, go out with you, whatever it is. But no, I'm glad to make that happen. I was waiting on that TaylorMade driver from my boy. Man, you think I'm slow? Gee, I mean, it was like snail mail. But
I didn't even care. I knew it was happening. I was like, I know him. I was like, knowing him is going to end up right around the Masters, and voila.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just in time for the weather just starting to break here a little bit. That way, get out there and smell some of that grass. You know
I'm
what
just
I'm
going to hack for like 2 or 3 weeks just to even try to find it because I don't know where my swing is. I mean, I haven't swung a club in 5 years, so there's no telling what kind of swing I got. Yeah.
Just build it back from the ground up, brother. That's all.
I just know I ain't got that full range swing that everybody else has. Like I had this guy I took lessons from. He tried to make me go full range. I'm like, dude, do you see these shoulders? This ain't going. This ain't going. Nah.
He's gonna have you up there doing some HIIT programs and some calisthenics and yoga. Get you all flexible, get you pliable.
He did. I swear to God, I was like, he made my back hurt more. I was like, nah, dude. 2 lessons, I was good.
There we go.
All right, sorry about that.
I'm glad you got them, man. That's good. Just if there are any questions or anything, I can help either one of you. Obviously, you know that. I want to be a part of the solution, if you will.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. All right, championship game number 1. UCLA 79, South Carolina 51. This game, we talked about this on Sunday morning, and we talked about, punching the gorilla in the mouth, and UCLA came in and punched the gorilla in the mouth, and they bullied the bully. Most outstanding player was Lauren Betts. She had 14 and 11 in his championship game. Neepkins had 15. I can't never say her name right. Gabriella. It's not Jaquez. I can't never say her name right.
Jaquez. It's Jaquez because her brother plays for the Miami Heat.
Okay, so it is Jaquez.
Yeah.
She had 21. Kiki Rice had 10.
Kiki.
Lego Walker had 10, and they got double figures from all of their starters. For South Carolina, Tessa Johnson had 14. That should double figures, and McKeer had 11. That was it. South Carolina was outshot in this game badly. UCLA shot 43% from the field, 42 from behind the line, 11 to 13 from the line, the free throw line, and 43 total rebounds to 33. South Carolina only shot 29%, 2 of 15 from three-point range, and 13 to 17 from the line. I throw it over to you, gentlemen.
Go ahead, Midnight.
Well, this was our decider in our pool for the bracket. KG had South Carolina. I had UCLA. I kind of changed my mind during the way because I thought Texas had something, but I felt like Texas celebrated themselves out. I called it the Pat Bev syndrome. When they made the Final Four, and then when I saw South Carolina and I saw the game started, it just looked like South Carolina didn't have their legs. I think sometimes when you have to take on the big bad wolf, when you leave the fight, the scars don't heal in enough time for that one day to come back and fight again. And I think that's what it was. I think they just didn't have they had the resolve, but they didn't have the ability to execute in the moments they needed to. And I think that's where they struggled at. And that's why this game ended up being the way it is, a huge margin of victory. But it doesn't diminish what South Carolina did and accomplished. KG, I think I sent it to you, the Gino versus Pat Summitt stuff to add to that kind of thing. But I think South Carolina got the most out of what they had. The only problem is they ran into a team that height 5 seniors. I mean, you don't get that often, and all 5 seniors leaving. So now this is a place where they're going to need to add some talent. And we'll talk about that later on. Go ahead, Keith.
I actually watched a little more of this game than I did the championship game last night because it was on so late. Just a quick throwback to you guys. Do you feel like there was any after effects or side effects from the Final Four drama that carried over off the court into training? With Dawn and Gino, and I know Dawn didn't wear any South Carolina gear. Dawn Staley in the championship game. Is that something she did all the time?
She normally wears a regular outfit, so she doesn't wear.
Okay.
She doesn't wear like a polo
a suit or whatever, a business suit or okay. I got you. All right, because people were mentioning that, and I was like, well, why is that such a big deal? But if she was out wearing, sweaters, South Carolina, I guess that would be different. It just didn't seem to me like either UCLA was so good that South Carolina couldn't get into their plan, or South Carolina just didn't have a plan or a good plan from jump. And then when it came time to make adjustments, they weren't there. They weren't effective either. So dominant performance by those 5 seniors there at UCLA for sure. Very dominant.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and I'm gonna be honest. Turned this game on, and South Carolina was stressing me out so bad I had to go take a walk. I had to walk from one room to the other, go to the bathroom, go in the kitchen. And every time I would walk back in the room, I would peek my head around the corner and look at the TV. My wife would just start laughing because UCLA would just hit a timely shot. And I said, man, I just need to keep walking. I need to stay out of here because every time I come in here, they hitting a big shot. I'm just going to stay out of here. And she said to me on Saturday night, South Carolina's going to be tough, But I think UCLA gonna run away. No. South Carolina got the team. They got the experience and all that. Listen to your wife, boys. Listen to your wife. Because if I'd have bet that, geez, the amount of money I probably could have won on that. But
KT,
South Carolina shot themselves out of this game. You can't win a game going, what did they go? 2 for 15 from 3-point range. Your stars don't score. You only had 2 players in double figures when you normally play a better game than this. You were 18 of 62. And every time you tried to get points in the paint, what did they have? They were outscored 40-28 in points in the paint, 11-6 on fast breaks, and they turned the ball over 13 times. You can't win a game like that. I kept saying, I said, Dawn got to talk to them at halftime. Dawn Staley got to talk to them. She got to talk to them. She got to get them motivated. They don't seem like they're focused, and it just spiraled. They kept hanging around, but they never could get over the hump. This was bad on South Carolina's part, but on UCLA's part, if Lauren Betts is not your number 1 pick going into next Monday's draft, man, I'm hoping she kind of sort of slide and come to the Mystics, because a force like that, man.
Do you guys like that quick turnaround championship draft? Let's go while minds are fresh and eyes are clear. You know what I mean?
I don't like it from a player development standpoint, because basically you're pushing a player into the season, and whatever you think they have to work on, they're not going to work on it until the following off season, basically.
Yeah. It feels like it's good for business. It feels like it's good for business for the WNBA to carry the momentum straight away.
Yes. Okay. Yes, because whatever the stories are, they come right in with those storylines, and you don't have to create storylines because you've got them tailor-made from the tournament, and then you still get to carry over. I mean, one of the big storylines this week is Angel Reese getting moved to Atlanta. Yeah. And let's put a pin in that and address that when we finish before we finish the basketball talk.
Gotcha. And I think I always thought it was kind of weird, because remember the WNBA draft used to be the next day after the women's championship. It was always that following Monday. So the championship was Sunday. It was always that Monday afternoon. And I always wondered, I said, when do they do their workouts? When do you look at players and say, I want to work this player out, see what they do in individual workouts? You don't have any time. And then you just came off a college season if you just won a championship, and then you're jumping right into training camp, which is a month, and you're trying to get ready to start a season that's 36 games long, or however long the WNBA season is now. And it's like, where's the break at? So I never like that.
KG, look at it this way. What if a girl got nicked up in Elite 8 or just had a sprained ankle, and then she's perceived as not ready to go? So maybe she'll slide. Maybe someone will reap the rewards of that, but that could impact, her. Obviously, draft position means slotted salary, for the most part. So yeah, I could see both sides of the equation here, like that you pointed out, for sure.
But I think the good part is they don't have to ramp up anything, because they're already coming off a plan. They're ready to go. They've got their conditioning done. So pretty much the thing or the key would be, if you're a smart coach, you're not pushing those guys or pushing them as hard as you push everybody else, because they've just finished a bunch of ball games, because you're going to need them for 36 ball games or whatever the season is. So if you're smart, you kind of have to manage them in this process, in this preseason process, so that you don't get injuries, because they are fatigued. You don't get the pull hamstrings, the soft tissue stuff.
Agree with that. On the men's side, this right here, Michigan beats UConn for their first title since 1989, 69-63. The demons of 93 have been exorcised. It has finally been lifted off my shoulders after 33 years. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. For UConn, Terrence Reed Jr., he had 13. Caravan had 17, 11 from solo ball. Mullins had 11. For Michigan, Lindenborg had 13, Johnson had 12, Cadu had 19. Team stats, and this is the disparity in free throw shooting was what caught my eye, and I didn't understand it, but we'll get to that. Michigan shot 38% from the floor, 13% from behind the arc, and 89% from the free throw line. UConn shot 30% from the floor, 27% from behind the arc, and 75% from the free throw line. 43 rebounds to 36 in favor of UConn. Both teams had 10 turnovers, and points in the paint 36-22 in favor of Michigan. Gentlemen,
I think this ball game was a bit of a slog because both teams are very defensive, and I don't know if they're great scoring teams. I think UConn in like whatever the scoring matrix is like almost down in the 300s when it comes to certain categories. They're at the bottom of college basketball. I think one of the things I saw also was the kid Kudo. He used to be at North Carolina. So whoever says that Hubert Davis shouldn't be fired, here's another reason. Let's put another log on that fire. Because this kid didn't look like he never looked like this at Carolina. So it tells me some of this may be on the coach. We already got the Caleb Love kid, but there's been some other 5 stars that have gone to Carolina and left Carolina. So no shots at Hubert. No, actually, all shots are at Hubert. So yeah, I just didn't like that when I saw it, and I realized who he was. Michigan has shown this year that they were one of the best teams and one of the top teams in basketball from the jump. I'm not surprised they won. I'm just really surprised that they let it still be this close. But when you look at the shot chart, you can see where both teams left a lot of bunnies on the table. So if you went to Vegas and you had UConn plus, I think it was plus 6.5 or plus 7, you sweat it, but you won. So, but KG, you don't get a whole lot of money for these. These are those situations where, like, you're barely getting, you're not double. I'll put it to you like this: you won't double your money. This is like one of those minus 150s, minus 175s. So you're not going to double your money up. So you can't like get a fortune off of this, but you know what you can do? Go to Sizzler. Go to Sizzler.
So look, guys, I just have a few observations, not really a take. I mean, I thought some of the
Give me a second. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Don't do your thing.
Oh, okay. No, so I thought some of the basketball was bad at times, and I don't know if the teams were tired or what, but some of the game was anticlimactic, of course. But shout out to the Michigan faithful, you know, especially Weber, Howard, Rose, King, Jackson. I know nobody's more proud than them boys. Coach Fisher, you know. So I'm really happy for them. Another thing, I heard a couple people, KG, curious to get your thoughts on this. Some pundits out there saying that even though Hurley didn't win the championship here, that some of the work this season, especially his run through the tournament, was some of his best work. I'm just curious to know if you agree with that, or is honest opinion, because I've heard it, you know, people shooting holes in it, and I've heard that come up a couple times. So I'm just curious what your thoughts were. I know you watched it closely.
Seeing him do what now, he had a talented team. Not gonna take that from him. Bless you.
Bless you.
He had a talented team, and I don't think this is some of his best work. I think it was good, but I don't think it's some of the best. I want to say it was a year before last when they won the championship. You didn't expect them to win.
Yeah.
They got to this point on a wing and a prayer. And That's not bad because nobody had them. Everybody had them losing to Duke. Everybody was penciling in Duke and saying Duke was going to win. That wing and that prayer came through, and they got what they got.
Yeah, it felt like less offensive motion basketball. You know, I mean, easy buckets, the extra pass. It seemed like more ISO ball, and that's probably didn't behoove them well in the end. They just became easier to defend. And Michigan was so. That's one thing when you turned on the TV last night. So tall and so not skinny. Like boys are thick as thieves too. You know what I mean? Like they're big boys. So they just were very agile. Were able to defend the perimeter. And then one-on-one defenders, obviously, you know, Michigan's good at that. So I felt like it was kind of like strength on weakness.
Now, I'll say this, talking to a UConn fan was very upset last night before the game started. And what he told me, he said when he found out who the ref was, he said, yeah, we're screwed because the ref, James Breeding, is not a fan of Dan Hurley. And I know Dan Hurley's been getting heat over the last week or so with how his interaction with the referees. And I noticed that everything was so one-sided. It was Michigan getting the calls. Like they went to the line. What did I say? 28 times, 24 times? How many times they go to the line?
24.
Because it was a big disparity. 28 times, 28 shots from the free throw line. And it was a big disparity long before the end of the game, before we got to intentional fouling.
Right.
So, and I said, yeah. And it was the last foul that they called. That should have been a jump ball. That shouldn't have been a foul. That should have been a jump ball. I can't think of which player it was. He got trapped in the corner, and he traveled. Whether you want to admit it or not, he traveled. That should have been a turnover, and they didn't get the turnover. But it was like, okay, you know, what happened, but you still got to make shots. And UConn went cold in the second half. That's where they shot themselves in the foot. UConn went cold. So
there you go.
Back up to the tippy top.
Hold on.
Midnight Rock.
No. Let's do this because I want to bring in somebody. I had the pleasure of meeting through one of our field trips. As the Sideline Junkies, you know, we often go out and we do other events. So we did wrestling, and this man is the dad of one of the best 106-pound wrestlers in all of Maryland, Miss Olivia Crosby. This is Coach McCauley. He wanted to jump in. When I met the man at the Laurel event, he had one great thing going for him. Well, actually, he had two. One, a lovely daughter. Actually, two, a great wife. And then three, he had a UNC cap on. So I couldn't help but talk to him, you know what I'm saying, after all that was happening. So before we get to the UNC part, I wanted to just jump in and ask you real quick, what did you think about last night's game? And even if you want to test the ladies' game, you can do that as well.
All right. Well, with the ladies' game, I was stunned because I hadn't really followed UCLA women's basketball, but that I heard that I had a high-powered offense, but also the basket seemed like it had a lid on it, like it did for UConn and Michigan in that first. Both teams that went to that particular side couldn't hit the ball was not dropping. I don't know if the rim was extremely tight. It was almost like they were playing on a double rim on the playground. But I didn't mean to jump into UConn and Michigan, but getting back to Dawn Staley and them, I think that they exerted so much energy within that UConn game that they came out. They was flat. They was aggressive. They played their style of ball, but the ball was not going. The shots that normally fall for them was not falling for them against, especially in that first half. I'm sorry, y'all got this killer in here. Over here, get over here. And but But I can't take it. I can't take anything from UCLA girls. I didn't realize that the big girl, 51, she was really, really tough in the post.
So
She,
that tells me you've done two things wrong. A, you didn't watch our shows leading up to this, and B, you didn't watch our shows leading up to this. So
hey, I just got the link. I just got the link.
no. You see, you don't need the link. Watch this. You just got to go to YouTube, baby. We'll get
Okay,
you hip.
okay.
We'll get you
Uh,
hip to
so,
that.
so now I know. Now I know. but
Exactly.
last night's game was that defense and from Michigan was unreal. They came to play. They definitely came to play. It was almost like every shot was contested. I mean, it was no easy. It wasn't no easy jumpers or easy wide open looks for that the potent shooting them shooting guards and forwards for UConn. And and I could not believe like the gentleman said earlier with Michigan going what they went what about 26 for 28 at the free throw line. That's a lot of free throws, and that was probably one of the best free throw shooting performances I've seen on the college level from a team in a long time. And I said that it's going to be the difference in that's going to come down to be the difference in the game because they kept shooting and they never was missing. But I tell you what though, I Okado I know Carolina is kicking themselves in their butts. How do you let that talent get out of Chapel Hill?
Yeah. And that's why you had to fire your coach.
Yeah, and I was to me, I felt like I was me personally. I was happy to see Hubert go because this is saying like you, you as a coach, you have players that play for your coaches, and I felt like those kids. I don't know what was going on in the practices or what was going on behind the sideline. Because if you look at it, when you had Love that left the program and went to Arizona and
Mhm.
then you had some other Washington and some other ball players left Carolina. Good quality ball players. I didn't know if they was promised a lot of playing time, but they didn't see a lot. It's almost like he had a 6 or 7 man rotation, and that's what I'm going with, and that's what I'm gonna live and die by. And it came back to bite him in the butt. And so with Cadeau leaving, I didn't because I was like, man, with Cadeau and then you know
Wilson.
Trimble,
Yep.
yeah, and then you had Wilson, man, and I think that's one of the reasons. Even though Caleb Wilson had an outstanding season and he was injured, but I felt like it was something more going on to the point where if you was injured twice
Mm-hmm.
and uh, you could really consider coming back because you was a freshman, and
Not when
so
you're number 4. You're a top 4 pick. You never come back. I had the same
yeah,
argument with somebody when Otto Porter declared for the draft. They were like, Otto Porter needs another year. I said, Otto Porter, no matter how good he plays and who body he takes over, he will never be a third pick in the draft again. So go now while the going is good. I'm sorry,
yeah,
KP.
get that money.
So, Coach, real quick, because we want to get to know you before we go into this UNC thing. Talk about the
Okay.
places you coached, and kind of just a little bit about you, real quick.
Okay. Well, I am an artist. First of all, I went to school at North Carolina A&T undergrad, graduated in 2003, and left North Carolina A&T and moved to Washington D.C. And I got accepted in Howard Grad School, and it was a funny story because whenever I was playing football, uh, Coach Petty was at Norfolk State, and he wanted to. So he was recruiting. Wanted me to come play some ball, and he just happened to see me on campus. He was like, "Hey, Jeff," because it was funny because I was dating his nephew's niece, and so
Okay.
we kind of got connected, and he was just like, "Have you ever thought about playing?" I said, "Oh man, my eligibility been up. I'm a little old for that." And so he was just like, "Have you ever thought about wanting to coach?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And so he put me on this coaching staff. So I was privileged to work with Howard University from '04 to '06 with the special team. So I worked with the kicker, lone snapper, and the field goal unit. So it
Okay.
was a great experience in uh, coaching on the college level. And then I coached at area high schools. I coached at Shaw at Garnett Patterson. They merged Shaw and Garnett Patterson junior highs together, and so I rounded up coaching there. Um, I left there and I went to Cesar Chavez, and we started a football program up over there. So I was the head coach for there for about 3 years or so, and then left. And I'm more like a journeyman type of coach. I had a chance to coach with Coach Lane over at Coolidge High School.
Hmm.
Then I went with Coach West over at McKinley Tech, and then I circled back and I got the head coach position at Richard Wright um, Public Charter School. Coached there for 3 years, and after that stint right there, it's time for me to get back to my kids, which is Olivia and my son. I have a son named Sadiq Macaulay. He was a track star over at McKinley Tech. So now he's transferred over to Laurel. So he's starting to run track with Laurel High School this year. So he also has the record in the 800, the 1600, and the 3200 over at McKinley Tech. So he's a distance runner. So we're gonna see what this turns out to be for him. But I also I've been teaching. This is year 20 for me, and I left the DC public charter schools this past year, and so now I'm at I'm at the non-traditional program North. So we get all the kids that come out of trouble or truancy or whatever, the kids that need a little push. So they need some love, and so I'm teaching over there. So I welcome them with open arms, and like people talk about the problems and issues with kids. You can't just talk about them. My thing is, rather than talk about them, be part of the solution. So that's my goal. I'm for the change.
All right, cool.
And so
So,
that's me in a nutshell.
nah, we appreciate that, man, and I appreciate you and your wife allowing us to interview your daughter on several occasions. Once at Oxon Hill, once at Laurel. We truly appreciate it. I tell everybody the after the experience of interviewing her at Laurel, I mean at Oxon Hill, I felt like she was one of the best interviews we had done um, in that type of setup. She was very on point, very polite, um, like just a real good kid. Um, so that's part of the reason why I even, reached out and connected with your family because I just loved everything about the energy and want to make sure if she's doing something and I can support, we can support, we as a group can support. With that being said, let me get us back on track. Um,
Okay.
and let's get into this UNC. UNC hires Mike Malone as their head coach. This is the first time that UNC has decided to go outside the family. Um, KG, I know you, I know you're gonna get on my case because I said this about Georgetown, but I think UNC had to do it this time. But let me go last when I talk about my thoughts on this because I got something. Um, I don't know if Keith or Coach wants to go first, but we'll let whoever wants to go first, and then we'll close it. We'll close it up with me and you, KG. You got the mute monster. Hey man, we love what you said when you were saying it though. It was dope.
No, I'd say go ahead, coach. Go ahead, coach. You go first.
Oh,
Since your opinion.
okay. Well, I think it's sometimes change is good because everybody within the Carolina family. I understand you want to keep it in the family, but but sometimes it's good to kind of come to break the mold and come out and have a different look. because I think this hire was a blessing in disguise. At first, I was like, I was thinking about Billy Donovan for what he did over with Florida, and then in the pros, coach, and then now he was currently coaching at with the
Chicago.
Chicago Bulls, but he had to wait until the 12th. But as we all know as coaches, and when you're dealing with the portal and NIL and everything, time is of the essence. And so if that portal opens up on the 7th, you can't be falling behind trying to play catch up, waiting around for a particular coach, and it wasn't guaranteed. So they went with the next best thing, and I think that you got an NBA coach who has a lot of experience with dealing with multiple personalities, dealing with high profile ball players that makes millions and millions. So I think he will be a good fit as far as the NIL. If he I think that he will be able to navigate that perfectly fine. And then you look at his pedigree. You know, you have a coach that has won a NBA championship, and that speaks volume. And so, as kids coming into a program, you talking to a coach that has been there, coached that, done that at the highest level. So I think it's going to be a good hire. I mean, he has enough money to play around. You know, some people say $50 million, that's enough. But you need that type of money to get a good coaching staff to support you everything that you're doing. So I think it was a great hire, and I'm looking forward to seeing what type of ball players that he gonna get to come, because I felt like over the years, Carolina, they lack that dog mentality, like with the Rasheed Wallace's, Jerry Stackhouse's, the Vince Carter's. I think he got a lot of pretty boys on the team, but because until recently, they really don't dive on the floor. Um, unlike some of the other teams that you see, that scrappiness. And I'm looking for him to bring that type of ball player into Carolina to kind of match that energy of Wilson.
There you go.
All right,
So
Keith.
yeah, so for me, one, I think this is going to take a little time, right? I don't think he's going to flip this thing next year. Will he coach the hell up out of who is going to be on his team next year? Yes. Yes, I do. How he's going to be able to recruit here in short order, I'm a little worried about that. Tactics, game planning and all that stuff in court, in-game adjustments. I have no issue. I do want to see how he makes the adjustment to the NCAA restrictions about practice time and things like that. It's not NBA. Wake up, do a shoot around, and you got the players, So I think that's going to be adjustment for him. Hopefully he'll surround himself. I don't know if his assistant coaching staff has been announced yet. Guys, you guys tell me if so.
I haven't heard anything yet.
Nah, I haven't.
But I'm going to be real cognizant of kind of what he does there, to see if he surrounds himself with some, collegiate, lifers, either ex-head coaches or coaches that have been in the game, in the NCAA game for a while. And also, does he hire a headhunter recruiter that can help him in short order kind of navigate through some of those things? So those are my thoughts. I think I think it will end up being a good hire. I think there will be some heartburn early.
Go ahead, Keith.
Two things. I love how you like to twist the knife with the going outside of the family thing. And you always talk about Georgetown getting away from the tree of Thompson and on the hill. I never agreed with that. I thought North Carolina would go with a Jerry Stackhouse and let him build the program back up. But Mike Malone, Mike Malone, I got no problem with him, because the number one, he's the son of Brendan Malone, who was an assistant coach with the Pistons, the Knicks. He coached Powell Memorial to championships in the 60s and 70s. Like, he's got a pedigree. And if you talk about assistants on his staff, if he brings in a Van Gundy, like a Stan Van Gundy, That's gonna be a good pickup. Midnight Rider not gonna like this one, but if he bring in a Mark Jackson, who he coached under in Golden State as an assistant, just hey, pay it forward, bring my guys back into them comfortable with 2 years with those. North Carolina's gonna be a different team. And I say you're not gonna like because I always bring up Mark Jackson and you give me that look.
Do you just not like my team? And like you just want to saddle my team with the same sadness that your team is saddled with at Georgetown? You tried to give me.
We turned it around a little bit.
You tried to give me George Carl the other day. George Carl ain't relating to no 18-year-old kid. George Carl couldn't even relate to 32-year-olds he was dealing with. George Carl almost got his ass beat by Carmelo back in Denver back in the day. And you keep doing this. You have this insistence on giving my team bad coaches. I don't need your misery. I don't want your misery, dog.
What's miserable about a Van Gundy or Mark Jackson? You know you're gonna have a good up-tempo offense, and you're gonna have a team that plays lockdown defense.
Who are they AU connects? Who are they connected to? Who's their grapevine? You can't bring a guy from the pros and then drop him in college and then expect him to be a great recruiter. It's just not going to happen.
Mark Jackson and Stan Van Gundy are on TV.
Oh my God!
You see them.
Yeah. Ask Bill Belichick how this recruiting thing's going.
Boy, he having a rough sledding, boy.
Come on, man. Like
I'm
this
trying
is. Look. I think he should go get him an assistant, and I think he should get him a guy that's grounded in college basketball, a guy that's been a long time assistant somewhere. We know we can't bring back Sean May because Sean May's bridge has been burnt because I think maybe he was given some promises with Hubert being there, and they didn't deliver. Now, I do think Marcus Page should be on this coaching staff because Marcus Page is young enough where he's still getting his feet wet in the coaching game. There's a guy that I would love to see, but I don't think he's even in coaching right now. But I would love to see a guy like an Ed Cota get the second chair, you give Page the third chair, and you find somebody really skilled and talented to be in the first chair. I don't know who the first chair is for Mike Malone, but here's what I do know, and here's what my theory is. I think you can go with a Mike Malone now, and somehow in the process you find you a coach that you want to develop and have him on the staff, because Mike Malone's going to wear his welcome out in 5 years. This Carolina thing ain't going to last. He's not going to be a lifer at Carolina. He's going to be a 5 to 6 year guy because he's going to run things the way he runs them, and that's going to be the problem for this team. I think they'll have success because he's a good coach and he's a great coach. I think year one, we can go ahead and put that, we can ball that up and put that out there with your ideas about Stan Van Gundy and all them other people. We can throw it in the same trash can with that. Year one's not going to be a big year for us. But year 2 and 3 is the place where he can make a difference in this ball club.
I agree. I think it's going to take at least 3 years for them to really start to gel.
Yeah, but then you have to, at year 3, you also have to have the next plan in place because I don't see him long-term for college basketball just because of his nature. He grinded on the Nuggets, won a title, and he had them ready. I mean, he had them at his front door with the moving vans after 2 years after the title. So, I mean, you can't tell me that's not, that's a personality thing. And maybe that's a Jokic thing as well. But yeah, I think there are issues or there's things that are happening that will happen. So I don't see him as a long-term solution. I see him as a stopgap.
Why pay so much money for a stopgap?
Because that's the price of the tea in China. You was going to pay. Look, you're going to pay Billy Donovan the same amount. The only reason you couldn't get Billy Donovan is because for some reason he had to wait till the end of the season, which I didn't understand. But Billy Donovan really is the next head coach of this team. But you got to remember the portal opened today.
If it was left up to me, y'all could have had Billy Donovan before you fired Hubert Davis. I told you I would have packed him up, and I would have packed his whole entire house and brought him right to North Carolina, dropped him off at the school and everything. Look, we'll hang his clothes up in his new house and everything. Get him out of Chicago, please.
Well, but y'all just fired your GM and your head coach. So I don't know if he's the problem. They the problem, or he's not head coach. Your GM and somebody else.
Director of basketball.
Yeah.
The whole front office needs to go. It's been our front office has been in shambles since they hired Gar Forman.
Yeah.
Gar Forman came in, undid everything John Paxson did. He poisoned John Paxson. John Paxson started messing up everything, and then they hired these new guys and ain't nothing been right. But I'm just take Billy Donovan with you.
Well, we can't now because we got Mike Malone.
You can still have him. He can be your second chair, your first chair. He can sit at the scorer's table, whatever. Just take him. Get him out of Chicago.
His ego too big for that. And I think he won a power struggle. I think, honestly, the reason he's still there and the other two people aren't is because he won the power struggle.
Yeah, he's like, I got options. They don't. They got to go, or I'm off to UNC. Yeah, good point.
Yep. He pulled the UNC card to get him to stay and to get the dynamics that he wanted.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing that kind of stood out is we kind of touched on it earlier is the portal. And what I noticed today, I just saw an article. Portal opened up at, I guess, midnight. And as of right now, on the men's side, the portal sees almost 1,500 men's players enter the portal on the first day. Now, this article was written at 3:00. You imagine from this morning to 3 p.m., we got 1,500 guys sitting in the portal just waiting to find a new destination. So real quick thoughts on that. Coach, I got one other basketball thing, and then if you want, you can hop out and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I appreciate you jumping in with us, but what's your thoughts on this? And then I got another one we want to get your thoughts on as well. Oh, you muted yourself, Coach.
Okay, as far as the portal is it's almost like it's like instant gratification when it comes to ball players. It's just like you want to win now. I understand it, but I would still like for some of the coaches to start getting some of the high school kids because it's limiting good talented athletes that's coming straight out of high school that's missing opportunities to develop over the years because of the simple fact they're getting overlooked as somebody that's been at another program 2 or 3 years, and then more than likely, if they're not that they go to a mid-major school or something. But I feel like they need to start heavily recruiting some of these high school athletes because the portal is basically making high school athletes extinct.
No, that's a great point. I mean, that's really what we've talked on our Monday show, Pretenders or Contenders. We always talk about the difference is now we had the head coach, not the head coach, but we had the recruiting coach for Howard football jump in with us, and he's just telling us that, it's easier for us to pick a kid that's been in school for 2 years and bring him in because we know he's got the pedigree already. So basically, essentially what's happening is they're using the mid-majors as a farm system.
Yes.
And that's what's happening is you go to a mid-major, play for 2 years, get your game right, and then you can move up. I mean, one of the best things of that is the kid Gillespie that was at Tennessee. He was at Tennessee this year. Last year he was at Maryland. and then the year before that he was at a mid-major, and that's kind of the system and the way this thing is going right now. Is we're using the mid-majors as the testing ground to get these kids right, build up their bodies, and then they come into the top tier programs and they work from there. Go ahead, Keith.
No, I mean, yeah, I loved everything both of you guys said, but it's just hard to convince me that first of all, you never want to hold anyone back from bettering themselves or getting a better opportunity. Like Coach said earlier, make more money. You don't want to put a lid on any of that. But my thing is, are we really doing these kids a favor by jumping around, right? Is it good for basketball overall, the quality of basketball, when coaches are short time with these players and then they move on? Everything is like a 1-year deal. Everyone's on a 1-year deal in college basketball. Is that safe to say?
It's always been like that. Technically,
everyone's on a 1-year deal.
Technically, your scholarship is full 1-year contract agreements. Technically,
yeah, I'm going through that now with mine. So yeah, that's how it works. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to follow. You know, predictions here are saying it could be over 3,000 players by the time the portal is complete. You know, is everyone enters the portal that plans to enter the portal, going to be over 3,000 players. That's insane. I mean, I think it waters down selfishly the product, you know, and I think, you know, obviously there's some great performances, some great games during this NCAA run, but I feel like the basketball, it definitely looks different. The athletes are taller and more athletic. I get that, but I don't see the fundamentals of basketball being what they were for me. So I'll leave my soapbox on that.
All right, KG, I didn't get a chance to get your thoughts.
I think that the transfer portal is basically, I don't like things here because they're not working in my favor. I'm going to leave. Instead of let me grind a little bit harder and move into the starting rotation. Let me grind a little bit harder so I can get more playing time. It's not working for me because I'm only getting 10 minutes a night here. But if I go to this school, I'm playing 36 minutes. But you're still the same player. You're still a player that's uncoachable. So what's going to happen when you get in those 36 minutes, but you're only averaging 7 points a game and 2 rebounds? You're going to move on to another program, and you're going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. You're not learning anything. College is supposed to set you up for life. It's supposed to get you ready for the real world, quote unquote. And in the real world, you can't just hop around because things don't work out for you. Because if you keep switching jobs, it's going to get to a point where if you go to a job for 6 months and then you switch and you go to this job for 3 months and then you go to this job for a month, you keep switching because, they don't treat me right and I'm not respected and I'm not a manager yet and this, that, and that, but you don't do anything to improve yourself, you're going to become unhireable at one point in time. And it's just, I don't really care for the transfer portal the way it is. 1,500 people and we're talking not even 24 hours. 1,500 kids have entered the transfer portal on the men's side. The Tennessee women don't even have anybody on their team. They have no roster. Everybody entered the transfer portal.
They also
That's
have no
crazy to me. And no recruits either. It's crazy to me.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on what you said because there is a loud majority of the portal that is kids moving around because of happiness with playing time and things of that nature. But there's also a portion of this portal of kids where they put themselves in position to up to the next level so they can prove themselves and get better opportunities. So there's a kid at Princeton that knows he's not gonna get in the limelight or play in the tournament, but he'll leave after 2 years and go to NC State and have the opportunity to make the tournament, or go to a Carolina and make a tournament. He wouldn't go to Georgetown because he's going to lose there. But just places, where you go to a school and you can get yourself better in the long run. And I just think the portal has two very different ends of the spectrum. There's the one end of the spectrum where the kid is just making his life better and getting an opportunity. And then there's the kids that are kind of the loud majority that are just moving around and keep moving around, and they're not getting what they want out of this. And the bad thing is they'll be in school for 5 years and won't have any kind of degree track because they move so much.
Yep.
Go ahead, coach. You can jump in. Just hit you unmute yourself.
All right. Sorry about that, y'all. But yes, but it's this is a really unique topic that like when you talk about like some of these kids because it with the way college is with the portal and everything else and NIL, I think uh like when I was coaching at Howard, you had a lot of these kids. Like I was fortunate, like Antoine Bethea. I was there when he was at Howard University. I mean, these kids, they live, they breathe football or anything, but yet still as a coach, if we would give them anything, any type of money or any type of oodles and noodles or something small, you can you jeopardize in the program
Yep.
for NCAA violations. So, and then now they got NIL. I understand the NIL is kind of good for some of these kids because some of these kids might not might not make it pro. But if they invest their money, it's like Baycott. Look at Baycott for Carolina.
Yep.
He took his NIL money, got hotel chains, and he invested that money. I mean, he didn't fare out in the NBA, but yet still, he still got a opportunity to still have a good quality of life to go
Yep.
along with your degree that you get at these universities.
Okay, G.
I just I love the NIL because the kids are finally getting paid, and I would always think about the story that when they did the story on the Fab Five, and it was a reporter, and he said Chris Webber had asked him for a couple of dollars to get a pizza or some gas, couldn't give it to him because it could ruin everything. Then come to find out he was taking money anyway. But I think about that being college kids and not being able to afford basic living, and then knowing that you get a stipend under your scholarship of $150 a month. At least it used to be $150.
Yep.
And you can't have a job. You can't work in the mess hall. I'm sorry, the cafeteria, anything at the school. You can't have any type of job outside of that.
Nope.
Because it's considered a violation of NCAA rules. Now that they can get their money, I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just want to see that college loyalty. When you say, hey, I'm going to Creighton, and then you go to Creighton and you make a name for yourself at Creighton, and Creighton's one of those mid-majors. You go to a Georgetown, you go to a UNC, and you are loyal to that school where you're doing your 3 to 4 years. You go to Kentucky and you do your 1 year and you become a so-called star and everything, number 1 overall pick, but you never win anything, John Wall. And, but you show that loyalty and you still come back. But I always thought about it on the academic side. What's happening when you keep transferring schools? What does that do to your degree if you're trying to earn one? And I don't mean trying to earn a degree in VCR programming. I'm talking about an actual degree that's going to help you after your playing days are done.
Yeah,
what does that do for you?
That's why a lot of the new rhetoric around the transfer portal is trying to allow the kid one undergrad and then one graduate transfer, like limiting them to 2 transfers, because that is the byproduct is what you're talking about. Kids not getting degrees. You got a kid like I know I'm gonna say his name wrong, but I think his name is JT Finley. Like I think he started like at NC State. He transferred like 6 different schools. He's on his 6-year eligibility. played quarterback. I think it was like Auburn, NC State, and then 4 other places. And like, what kind of degree program is he on? None, because you lose credits every time you transfer. So,
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of this. Let's put a pin in this conversation, and maybe we invite Coach back, and we do more in depth on that.
Well, I greatly appreciate y'all having me on the show. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm definitely going to be locked into you all from here on out. Thank you again.
Keep up the great work, Coach. Thanks for everything
right.
you do. Keep up the great work.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Cool, man.
You too.
Hey, KG, let's take a quick break, and then let's get to the coup de grace, which is the Masters. And while we have the correspondent here, and I need a extended.
Okay. You know I got you.
I know where we're going already. It's a WrestleMania.
Oh, of course. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tonight, the bell rings and the stories begin. Welcome to the ride.
That's always to get you right. Saturday nights, 9 p.m. You got the Saturday Night WrestleManiacs. Welcome back. We are talking golf, the Masters preview, and I had to do something special, and I wanted to do this. Let me see if I can move everybody over to the side here. I wanted to get a correspondent his own background, golf correspondent.
Appreciate you doing that. That's cool. You ready to roll? You ready to get this thing rolling a little bit?
Yes, sir, because we at that time of year, so and a lot of things have changed. So I would love to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, well, flowers are blooming outside. The 90th edition of the Masters tournament kicks off this Thursday. So some of the festivities have already started. You know, unlike a lot of other golf tournaments, other sporting events in general, the Masters kind of starts on Monday. There's these other small events. Tomorrow there's a par 3 tournament where a lot of the players' children will carry their bags for them and do things like that. It's really a epic, and they make it a family affair. Before we get started on the Masters too much, I wanted to say one thing about a person that was slated to play in the Masters in his first golf tournament in a couple of years, and now he's not going to be there, and that's Tiger Woods. So Tiger Woods, being a hero of mine, someone I grew up loving, idolizing to a lot of extents, is not playing this year, and I just wish the man the best. You know, it sounds, sometimes you got to hit the bottom before the ground swallows you whole. You know what I mean? And so it sounds like he's getting the help he needs. I was so looking forward. Was Tiger going to win a tournament? No. Was there potential because he knows the course so well and he's won there 5 times for a potential to make the cut and just kind of hang around and make it kind of cool? Yes. I felt good with that. I'm not a doctor. I just, a lot of people are telling, just get a driver. You can afford a driver. I don't think it's that easy. I think it's deeper than that. Obviously someone that is so driven and someone that's been anointed, unfortunately, is, a lot of his whole life thinks he can, especially when you're under influence of something, you think you're indestructible. So it sounds like he's off the grid now. He's out of the country getting the help he needs. So Tiger will, I think it'll be too late by the time you can come back. I was hoping he could be the Ryder Cup captain potentially next year in 2027. It sounds like that's off the table now. So just get well soon, get back in any capacity you can. Hopefully he can play TGL or, an event later in the year or TGL next season. So get well soon, Tiger. Hope everything works out for you and the family. All right. With that being said, the Masters this Friday, Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia, the most picturesque, the most scenic golf course that there is on this planet. Okay. Anyone that'll tell you, I've never been there, but anyone that's ever been there will tell you, when you're there on those grounds, patron, worker, volunteer, player, there's no other place in the world you'd rather be, right where your feet are, right there. It's the most aesthetically pleasing golf course and the most immaculate golf course that there is. It's meticulous. There's not a hair out of place. There's not a piece of grass out of place. We all grew up with that dude that had that lawn that took care of it like nonstop. Imagine that 10 times, 10 times fold. So it's shaping up to be a really good week. The weather is not going to really be a factor. Subsequently, it's going to be a factor, but we're not going to get a rain out day. We're not going to get a rush day where we're trying to play to dark, or I don't see weather impacting the game that way, the tournament this weekend that way. It's going to be, as we go, the course is going to it's going to dry out more. It's going to be firm. It's going to be fast. It's going to decrease the angles and the options these guys have into some of these greens. Guys are going to make a lot of birdies. That is going to happen because the course is set up to make birdies. But guys are going to make bogeys and double bogeys as well. You're going to see guys putt the ball off the green, literally with the putter in their hand, and might put it in the water. So by the time Friday, late Thursday, Friday, and Saturday roll around, so it's shaping up to be a great event. As you guys know, Scotty Scheffler is the defending champ. Rory McIlroy is the defending champion, but Scotty Scheffler is the odds-on favorite. He's a 2-time champion himself. Both of those guys have some things coming into this week. Scotty's second child, Remy, was born last week, so obviously there's challenges. We're all parents here, so we know some of the challenges of having a 1-week-old child who's already on the grounds. I'm 53 years old. I haven't been to Augusta yet, and his son's 7 days old, less, and he's at Augusta. So great memories for that young man. And Rory, Rory's started playing okay at the beginning of the year. Had an injury. He's having trouble hitting his driver straight as well, as is Scotty some. So neither one, I would say, are coming in great form. Those are the far clear and obvious 1 and 2 players in the world. So, any questions as we go, before I get into some other things so far?
Do you want to do a memory at the end, or do you want to do like a Masters memory now?
We can do it. Look, we can do it now. You got one? You want to share?
It's the year. I think this is the year that Tiger does the chip and the ball has the Nike sign sitting up, and then it falls in on 16. Well, let me tell you how that day started. I went to church with the girl I was dating at the time. She's like insisting that we go to this house for dinner. So we go to these people's house. We're one of the first people to arrive. So the ladies are in the back talking. I pull up in front of the TV because I know the Masters is on. I get the remote. I turn to the Masters. Now, every guy that comes in after me, like passes the wife off to wherever the ladies are, and they all grab a seat, and we have like this 8-man thing going around the TV. And when Tiger hits that shot, the whole room erupts. But that's when I knew Tiger was special, because he made a bunch of grown men just stop. And I guess because I was able to sit there and watch first, like I gave them permission to go ahead and do it, and we just had a great time. But that's one of my Masters memories is, like, I think it was an Easter Sunday too, on top of it all. It was like an Easter dinner, and yeah, they let us just sit and watch the Masters and veg out, and it was a good time, man.
2005, I think that's when that was. KG, you got one, or you want me to go?
The one I have, it's old, it's grainy. I don't really remember it too well because, especially Sundays Masters, it's like whenever the Masters were on Sundays. Early in my early adulthood, that was always the Sundays that I spent all day in church. So I normally would miss it, and I would have to catch the replay. But this one particular year, I want to say it was the last year with Jack Nicklaus. I think it was the last year with him, and it was just like you knew you were watching greatness. So I do remember that. I don't remember a whole bunch about it, but I remember actually watching it, and it felt like I was watching greatness walk off into the sunset, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. So I've got a few. The first one is in 1986. Jack Nicklaus was 46 years old and pulled off one of the incredible coups you've ever seen in a golf tournament. You know, birdie in 4 of the 5 last holes, whatever it was, and winning that tournament, ended up being his last major. He really wasn't in form for several years up to that. You know, especially back then at 46, you were pretty much an expired golfer. I don't know if you guys know, if you win the Masters, you can, if you can show up, you can play if you've won it before. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You could be 60 and you might shoot 100, but they're going to let you play because that's the tradition, of the golf tournament. And then there's 2 times. I don't know if you guys remember Greg Norman, the Australian dude with the long flowing hair. Well, he blew 2 Masters. I mean, he just literally, Jean-Claude Van de Velde choked him off. Had leads on in the back 9 on Sunday with 4 or 5 holes left. There's a lot of water those last couple holes, and then if you miss it in the wrong spot, you can make a bogey or double bogey real quick. And he did it twice. And I think Nick Faldo was the beneficiary, definitely of one, maybe both of those.
I thought Faldo was one, and I thought Nicklaus was the other. I thought the year that Nicklaus went 30, he went 30 on the back 9. The 86 one you're talking about. I thought Norman
but there was also Tom Kite was in the mix there. There was a couple other players there, but Greg was in the mix. I don't know if he quite had the lead in the back 9. Maybe he did. Maybe going into the last day. But those are some. But they're just, I could go on forever. There's so many.
So there's one that stands out. Another one that stands out for me is the unexpected Tiger year, because I think going into the last 4 holes, he's back, and then they put it in the water, and they give him the chance, and that's when you have that mass crowd gathered around. And I think his mom is still alive at that time. Yeah. And the hug he gives his mom is almost reticent to the hug he gave his dad when he won in 99, even though it was a blowout. But it was just like the full circleness of the moment.
Well, the hug he gave Charlie, that was 2019. The hug he gave Charlie was also pretty iconic and special. You know, 'cause I think that was 10 years since Tiger had won a major. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So those are great. Hopefully, that's one, the visuals of the Masters, the a tradition like no other, all those things can happen. But what can spoil a Masters if there's a blowout, like someone draws off and there's no drama on Sunday. The Masters tournament does a good job with pin placements on Sunday to make sure they're attainable. Birdies are out there to be made. Someone will make a charge, mostly. You know what I mean? Someone will falter. So I'm hoping I'm going to be glued to my TV. I'm hoping for a great weekend. A couple things to note, guys. I think the caddies, first of all, experience on this course is tremendous. The guys that are the top 50 in the world, the guys that have green jackets that are members at Augusta have a huge advantage because they get I've been hearing stories like the last couple of weeks. Every Tuesday, Roy lives in Florida. He'll go up to Augusta, fly in, play, eat breakfast at home, fly to Augusta, play, practice the course, and then be home for dinner. You know what I mean? So if you're just barely qualified, if you're barely just getting on the grounds Monday or Tuesday this week, you don't get a chance to do the prep that, someone that already perceivably has more talent than you is access they have. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Guys, caddies are so important here. So these shots are so delicate, and a blade of grass or two between your ball and the club can make all the difference. So when your caddy gives you a recommendation and you're not, you go the other way and you don't trust yourself, or you go with, you're hitting this club because he's recommending you hit this shot or do this thing. If you're not all invested in that particular moment at that particular time, you're going to hit a bad shot, and your score is going to be impacted in a pretty negative way. So pay attention to the caddy. Sometimes during these broadcasts, they'll give you a little bit of an insight on how that conversation's going, and you'll see them talk about either the flight of the shot they're going to hit, if they're going to hit it left to right, right to left, or what club, for distance, what club they might hit. So this course demands guys that can hit the ball both ways. If you guys know, a lot of golfers have a tendency, they like to hit a draw, or they like to hit a ball that's right to left. If you can't do both here this weekend for these 4 days, you ain't winning. It's not going to happen. There's just too many knolls and trees in miscellaneous spots, slopes. This golf course, guys, is far more undulating. The topography of this course, it looks flat on TV. It's a hard walk. It's a significant uphill, downhill, a lot of undulation, like I said. So some groups I've got my eye on to start Thursday morning before we start making some predictions. I don't know if you guys have any, but we'll get into that a little bit. 9:55, Patrick Reed, Tommy Fleetwood, Akshay Bhatia. All those guys are excellent golfers, and Reed's won a couple times overseas this year. Bhatia's won this year on the PGA Tour. Tommy Fleetwood, the Englishman, is in phenomenal form. 10:07, Midnight Rider. We got Bryson DeChambeau. Another Englishman, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Xander Schauffele. 10:14, Colin Morikawa, who's nursing a back injury. He's game time decision whether he's going to be able to play or not. So there's some poor. Yeah, he had a back injury a couple of weeks ago, and according to his interview yesterday, he hasn't really been taking full swings. It looks doubtful for me. I hope he doesn't get on, play a hole or two, and then withdraw. There's like 8 alternates sitting there at Augusta. They're on the grounds. Like, if he can't go, that first alternate will be in. Okay, he will be in. So keep an eye on that. 11:08, John Rahm, which a lot of people have selected this week as their pick. Chris Gotterup, who's won 2 times this year on the tour, and Ludwig Oberg. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but two of the last 3 weeks, Ludwig has blown leads on Sundays. He's off the grid for me. I mean, I hope he plays well. He might, but I wouldn't trust him. Can't trust it.
Won't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it. 2 more real quick. 1:20 in the afternoon. So we have a morning flow and then the afternoon flow. That way we get golf up to 7 p.m. tomorrow night because the weather is going to be pretty good. Jordan Spieth, Justin Rose, Brooks Koepka. Damn, what a threesome. And then at 144, Mr. Scotty Scheffler, the left-hander, Robert McIntyre, and then Gary Woodland, who's ex-U.S. Open winner. Are you guys familiar with what's going on with Gary Woodland? What has the last 2 years?
No.
So, real quick, he had a lesion in his brain that was, I think it was non-cancerous, but it was applying pressure to a sensory in his brain. It was causing him to be like fearful, like people were trying to get him. Like it was kind of a very delicate situation. He had the surgery. They successful, and he's back on the PGA Tour. He came out a few weeks ago. He's still struggling with some PTSD when it comes to that. They make some special arrangements so people are a little bit further back from him than normal, just for the time being. It sounds like he's making progress. So he won 2 weeks ago. 18 months ago, he had sprain surgery, and he won a damn golf tournament on the PGA Tour. So phenomenal perseverance. That's just a great story. There's going to be a 30 for 30 on this that's going to educate our youth about perseverance, overcoming obstacles, and coming through the other side. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Excited for a great week. Like I said, the weather is going to be pretty much spot on. Augusta National, they're going to be able to, they might add water actually in places to change things or try to make the rough grow a little higher they'll have some options. Unlike it rains and there's mud on the ball and you're pretty much a washout, it just changes things. So I think it's going to be firm, fast, and some pretty exciting golf. So
they said this is going to be the fastest the course has been in some years, because normally you get a rain on a Thursday or a Friday to kind of soften it up, but it's going to be hard and firm, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Only question I got is just if you want to do, I don't know if KG wants in or not, but kind of pick 5 guys that you like.
Oh, I can do that.
And let's take, but no. Here's the caveat. You have to take the top 10 golfers out. So you can't have Schauffele, Rahm, DeChambeau, McIlroy, Allberg, Schauffele, Fleetwood, Young, Fitzpatrick, Matsuyama, and Morikawa. So anything below them on the odds you can do.
So if we're going to do that, we should probably just take 3.
All right, let's do 3.
If we're going to do that, we probably should just do 3. You did not say Rose, right?
I did not say Rose.
All right. So I'll go first. Rose is one I'm going to take. I love we know Rose lost in a playoff, so maybe there's a little bit of sentimental thing there, but he's in form. This is his 21st Masters. That's why I come on here when I can and I talk about golf. That's why you guys have golf clubs now, because you can get out there and play. You know what I mean? Regardless of your age, right? And if someone's better than you, there's a handicap program that equals that up, so you can still, play for an adult beverage. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll take Rose. I really like Patrick Reed. He's won the Masters before. He's won twice overseas earlier this year. I got his odds here, guys. I got him at 44-1 to win, so I'm gonna sprinkle a little something on him to win and have him definitely in the top 10.
Hey KG, so, when we finish, can you send this to me? Just text me our picks, and I'm gonna put it on the graph.
All right.
So my 3 are gonna be Rose, Reed, and another gentleman by the name of Jacob Bridgman. Bridgman. He actually won earlier in this year. I think he's got to be like top 30 in the world, somewhere in there, top 30, top 40. So I believe he went to University of Georgia. So maybe he jumped the fence and played a few holes and got a little preview of the course there at one point in time. So let's go Rose, Reed, Bridgman. Midnight Rider.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to total up their scores. Now, if they don't make the cut, they automatically get a +10. Does that make fun? Does that make it fun?
Yeah,
So
that'd
if
be
guy
fun.
misses the cut, it's 10. He gets a +10. That way we don't have to worry about doing their number, and then everybody else gets played in.
Okay.
All right.
right.
So give me Goddard as my 1.
Love it.
Give me Akshay Bhatia as my 2.
Love it. Damn.
And then my 3, they don't call his real name should be Mike, but I'm gonna give me Shane Lowry. Shane Lowry. Those will be my 3.
I love them. All ballers.
Yep.
Now, I don't think when you said the top 10, was Brooks Koepka one of your top 10? Him and Rory, were they any of your top 10?
Rory was, but Koepka's not.
Yeah.
Okay. So Koepka's my number 1. I got to take Rory off. Koepka's my number 1. My number 2, I'm going sentimental. My man VJ Singh. I've loved VJ Singh for years, man. I always want to see him do well.
So you just asking for a +10 off the break.
Well, can we do this for money? I used to love way back in the day.
Was Sergio on your top 10?
KG, what are we doing here?
No, Sergio's a quality underdog. I think Sergio's a good 3, not a 2, but a 3.
I'll take Sergio, because I mean I could have went with Freddie Couples. I mean, geez, man.
I think you should take a Hovland over VJ. I think we should be allowed. Does that make sense?
He can make an amendment. He can make an amendment. Yeah.
Like let's give you a Victor Hovland type of guy. So you got Hovland, Garcia, and whoever the other person is not named VJ Singh.
Or even Spieth. Spieth's won the Masters too. I mean,
Jordan Spieth. Yeah.
So you like Spieth?
I'll take Spieth.
Yeah. All right, so we give you Spieth. Yeah. Let's not give you VJ because VJ's odds are like 7,000. So you bet $1 on VJ, you get like $7,000. So imagine you put 10 on that, you get $70,000. I don't know if that's happening, bro.
What's crazy is we say that, and what if VJ just come out and he blows the doors off up until Sunday, and then he just kind of collapse and fall back?
I mean, we've seen crazier. I mean, we've seen was it Tom Watson was in the mix for the Open at his age, and he lasted 3 rounds and got into the finals and then finally faded.
Yeah. Couple things, guys, to finish up here. Put a lid on our Masters prep. No Tiger or Phil at the Masters for the first time since 1994.
Yep.
So Phil apparently has got some personal family issue. It's undisclosed that he's working through, and we've already documented kind of what's going on with Tiger right now. So, yeah. Good stuff.
What other little nuggets you got in that regard?
Hold
on. I'm sorry. So Jamie Myrick jumped in and said, "Go Michigan." I know that's from an earlier conversation. J-Dub, Michigan was so dominant this year in the tournament. They're a really good team this year. Our man J-Dub says there's no better way to talk sports than these 3 gentlemen. Well done, very informative. C. Perry jumps in, gentlemen. What is this? Don't con KG out of no cash. I guess that's for you, Correspondent.
What did it say? Go back.
He said, "Don't con KG out of no cash."
Oh yeah.
And then he said, KG pick someone this decade. So there we go. But how we want to wrap this up because I think we should be getting out of here in a second.
Yeah.
We can go rapid fire real quick. You said we were supposed to hit this before, but Angel Reese was traded to Atlanta from Chicago.
So my thought on that is simple, man. I think everybody is downplaying the Chicago locker room that they tore apart because of the Witherspoon thing, and there's a couple players that aren't playing in the league, Trinity Carter, and then just there's some other situations and some comments made by Angel Reese at the end of the season where I think they just felt like they wanted to get her out of town and start anew. And that can possibly help them going forward. I think they don't feel like they'll be competitive this year, but with the picks and the draft classes the next couple years, that's when they can grow and be better and be competitive. So I thought it was a smart move. Sometimes KG hates when I say it, but sometimes you got to have addition by subtraction.
Let me ask you guys this. What is like the comp, an NBA comp of a player of this magnitude? I mean, we're talking top 6 or 7, top 8 player in WNBA. Is that accurate? I mean, no.
I think she's more. I would loosen it up and go top 15, top 20.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not a big Reese fan, but I get where you're going, Keith, with this. So I'm gonna hit Perry's comment. Perry says the Chicago front office has been the problem, not Angel. I agree with you to the point of their inability to bring in talent. But I think they feel like if they leave her there, she's always going to be resistant to everything that the new coach brings up because of her loyalty to Witherspoon. So I think that's where you run into a problem. Is she's not going to allow the other coach or the new coach to get their program unveiled and part of the situation. I think she will always be in the way. So I think that's why they moved her. This is my thoughts, not everybody else's.
Hard times for Chicago basketball right now, huh? I mean,
Indeed.
damn. Good, KG.
Indeed. I just think it was a shocking move, but it doesn't surprise me because when they fired Witherspoon, the team just kind of like fell off a cliff and wasn't very competitive after that. That's how I felt that was an unnecessary firing, but that's just me. Those are my thoughts. I'll leave it at that.
All right. So C. Perry says, what is this? Foles, Deladon, Carter all cannot wait to get out of Chicago. I agree with that. Candace cannot wait to get out after bringing them the chip. They Bush League. I don't have any argument against that, but what I'm saying is they weren't going to allow her to stay. That's the whole point of my angle on this. Is I understand that Chicago's front office has been bad, and they going to be bad but she had the nice promo where she talked about we got to get talent in the building and things of that nature. And I don't know any GMs or owners that are going to allow you to bash them, suspend you for conduct detrimental to the team, and then turn around and keep you on the team for the next season. That's all.
Even Dream be that'll be good. That'll be good.
What else you got,
right.
KG?
Last up, as we talk about curtains coming down, is the curtain coming down on Obi's career? Unless you want to save that for Thursday to really dive into that.
Let's say that for Thursday because it deserves a bigger window.
And there'll be a better picture of their playoff
right.
scenario too come Thursday as well. Be a clearer picture for that.
So let's hold that. Let's put a pin in that, and then let's just get out of here.
All right. Well, Thursday, not only are we gonna be talking about Ovi, We're going to be talking about some NFL draft. We're going to start our draft picks. Hopefully we can get from 32 to 24. But we're going to see how far we get on Thursday with our draft, and we're going to start ramping it up to get ready for NFL draft, which is later on this month. And I guess if Ovi decides to hang him up between now and then, we'll be on top of that. If he doesn't, hey, bowl of OVOs to everybody. Did you guys ever get a box of OVOs?
I never did. No,
I'm not a collector like that.
Oh shoot! I got both versions of OVOs. I got Dunkin' O's and I got Terry's Crunch. Got all those.
Nice. I like it. It's cool.
So, thank you for joining us tonight. For the Correspondent, the Midnight Ride, I'm the big guy KG. We'll see you guys on Thursday, but don't forget, 30 minutes around the association tomorrow with Nothing But Net, 7:30 p.m. But I'll see you on Thursday. Until then, good night.